China recently spearheaded the test flight of its sixth-generation stealth combat jet. Some call it a breakthrough. Others question its true capabilities. After all, its so-called stealth J-20 jets can be picked up on Indian Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter jet radars. That being said, China's ability to rapidly manufacture new fighter jets has given the PLA tremendous strategic independence. It has also brought into focus the Indian Air Force's significant shortfall in fighter jet strength. Indian Air Force Chief Air Marshal AP Singh has slammed the lethargic pace of research and development to develop indigenous tech and manufacturing capabilities, declaring technology delayed is technology denied.
User to use, it is irrelevant because there's something else much bigger, much better available with the adversary.
In an explosive speech, the Air Chief also says, quote, "Manufacturer is ready to make in India. That option needs to be looked at." So who is he hinting at? Is the Indian Air Force pushing for the world's best stealth aircraft to be made in India to take on China? We'll take a look. Speaking at the 21st Subrato Mukherjee seminar in New Delhi, the Indian Air Force Chief stressed on the urgent need for India to enhance its self-reliance in defense production to keep pace with military modernization efforts of neighboring nations and the complex threat landscape. He particularly slammed the extremely sluggish delivery of the indigenous Tejas fighter jets, hinting at the DRDO. He declared, quote, "R&D loses its relevance in case it is not able to meet timelines. Technology delayed is technology denied. There has to be an increased aptitude for acceptance of risks involved and failures in R&D, unquote. AP Singh's scathing remarks come even as the IAF only has 2 squadrons of the indigenous Tejas 40 years after the product's conception. He stated, quote, "We should go back to 1984 when we conceived that aircraft. The first aircraft flew in 2001, 17 years later. The induction started another 15 years later in 2016. Today, we are in 2024. I do not have the first 40 aircraft also. So this is the production capability," unquote. His words were a stark reminder of the growing disparity between India's defense ambitions and the pace of production, marred by repeated disruptions. While India's 5th-generation stealth AMCA is still in the development phase, China is boasting of a supposed 6th-generation prototype. The IAF chief elaborated, quote, "As far as China is concerned, it is not just the numbers, even the technology is growing at a very rapid pace. We just saw the recent flight of the new generation fighter they have pulled out. Meanwhile, even the Tejas MK1A jet production by the HAL has been delayed due to supply chain disruptions for the delivery of the F404 engines by GE Aerospace, a US-based firm. First jets are only expected in March or April, a full 2 years behind schedule. This has even forced the Indian Air Force to keep 2 squadrons of the outdated MiG-21 squadron in flying condition, which will be phased out either this year or the next." According to Singh, the solution to these persistent delays lies in upping the costs if necessary, spending more and roping in private players to achieve much-needed self-reliance. Emphasizing that domestic production is most crucial, he said, quote, "If you need to fight a war, you have to have them being manufactured in India," adding, "We cannot afford to be lingering lest the adversary has something bigger and better within the same time," unquote. Flight and weapons tests for the Tejas MK1A will begin shortly after the HAL held emergency talks with GE Aerospace to expedite delivery of engines. The Tejas MK1A and Tejas MK2 are immensely crucial to defense modernization efforts at a time when the Indian Air Force is flying only 31 squadrons against the mandated 42 squadrons required to fight a 2-front war if needed against Pakistan and China. Now, this squadron number will further decline as the Jaguar, MiG-29 and Mirage 2000 fighter jet fleets, all inducted in phases during the 1980s, are slated to retire in batches beyond 2029-2030. To combat this upcoming shortage, the IAF chief has now called upon greater public-private partnership to boost the R&D along with manufacturing capabilities in India. Hinting again at the DRDO and the HAL, he said, quote, "I am very convinced that we need to get some private players in. We need to have competition. We need to have multiple sources available so that people are wary of losing their orders. Otherwise, things will not change," unquote. Things need to change, and fast. China has over 200 J-20 stealth fighters, while Pakistan is also set to acquire the other Chinese stealth fighter, the FC-35, which is based on stolen American F-35 blueprints. 40 of these jets will give even Pakistan a distinct operational edge over the Indian Air Force for at least a decade before the AMCA is inducted in numbers. So what's the solution? The Indian Air Force chief explained the need to take greater risks in R&D, saying, quote, "Amortizing R&D costs and limiting production numbers will push the costs up, but this will give the much-needed self-reliance," unquote. His bold statement came only 2 weeks after China successfully tested its advanced 6th-generation stealth combat aircraft prototype, even before Russia or any European nation, taking the global defense arena by storm. Now, the Chinese media claims the Beidi or the White Emperor aircraft has been designed to be invisible to radars across multiple angles and across multiple frequency bands. This was the world's first publicly unveiled 6th-generation fighter jet, though not the first. The US Air Force test flew its own 6th-generation NGAD fighter in 2020, though the details have been kept highly secret. The new Chinese fighter features 3 engines instead of the traditional 2 and a tailless configuration, and is much bigger than even the largest J-20 fighter jet. In stark contrast, India's 5th-generation fighter jet, the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft or the AMCA, is still at the design and development stage and still far away from production. In fact, a proposal to develop the AMCA was cleared by the cabinet only last year in March, with an initial cost of 15,000 crore rupees. The development trials of the AMCA will only be completed in 2034, but till then the IAF faces an uphill task of guiding India's airspace with limited resources. In such a scenario, the IAF chief has even batted for partnership with foreign manufacturers, saying, quote, "Some short-term solution is needed when we are very short of the kitty. I need certain things to remain relevant and to deter. We are big enough buyer and the manufacturer is ready to make in India and even sell to other countries from India. That option needs to be looked at," unquote. So who is the Indian Air Force chief hinting at? The IAF flies primarily Russian origin or French origin aircraft like the Rafale or Mirage 2000. However, there have been no talks of Dassault Aviation setting up a Rafale manufacturing base in India. On the other hand, the HAL already builds the Sukhoi 30 MKIs for the Indian Air Force under technology transfer from Russia. And there have been reports suggesting Russia is open to setting up a Sukhoi 57 stealth fighter jet production line in India to meet the IAF's demands. While questions remain over the Sukhoi 57, it remains the best stealth option for India, given China's rapid progress in this domain. Russia is also sending its Sukhoi 57 jet to participate in Aero India 2025 in Bengaluru, where it will go head-to-head with the American F-35 jet, which will make its second appearance in India. While there have been no official talks of an F-35 purchase by India, however, Lockheed Martin CEO's meeting with Prime Minister Modi earlier did get hopes up for a possible deal. The United States has been extremely protective of its F-35 technology and even kicked out NATO ally Turkey from the F-35 project because of Erdogan's purchase of Russian S-400 air defense system. Now, India too operates a large amount of Russian equipment, so an F-35 deal remains a dream for now. However, if it could materialize, then it would be a win-win situation for the world's largest arms manufacturer and the world's biggest arms importer. But which aircraft make up the IAF squadrons currently? Let's have a quick look. With 13 squadrons, the formidable Sukhoi 30 MKIs make up the backbone of the IAF fleet. Following this are 6 squadrons of the British-French Jaguar jet, 3 squadrons of the French-origin Mirage 2000, 3 squadrons of the Russian-origin MiG-29 fighters, 2 squadrons of the French Rafale, the most capable fighter in the IAF fleet, 2 squadrons of the LCA Tejas base version, and 2 squadrons of the MiG-21s, making a total of 31 operational squadrons. Out of these, 14 squadrons of Jaguar, Mirage 2000, MiG-29 and MiG-21s are in their final few years. These will be replaced by at least 10 squadrons of the Tejas MK1A and 6 squadrons of Tejas MK2. But there is still a glaring hole for a truly world-class stealth fighter. So can the Air Force depend on the timely development of the AMCA to meet this need? Given the lack of urgency in development shown by the DRDO and the HAL, should India then buy 4 to 5 squadrons of proven stealth fighter jets like the American F-35 or the Russian Sukhoi 57? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.